So hi and welcome to Jim's Radio Shop, and another step along the way with this 91 Philco radio, type 221. I'm no longer going to call it a 91X. I think I'm just confused about some notes I saw. So a great thing here, and the reason I'm doing this video is because I got some new information about this radio. Now here's my old information. Wrong schematic. And the wrong schematic. So thank you, Nostalgia Air. I was able to get this schematic from Nostalgia Air, and this one fits my radio quite well. So the mystery about how does this radio operate with the IF coil missing, I think is solved. And some more excellent information I got here, which I didn't have before, is this chart of tube pin voltages, plate voltage, screen grid voltage, and the like. And I now see that really, based on my measurements, even the low plate voltage, the 30 volts on the detector amplifier, is only supposed to be 60 anyway. So what I thought was a completely dead section of the radio during my earlier testing turns out not to be dead at all. So I believe now the detector amplifier is working to some degree, and the audio amplifier also. There's a very simple tone control here, which is what's on this radio. That's this part right here. Shows up nicely on this schematic. It was some crazy thing on the other schematic, causing me lots of confusion. So now I did pull out this coil, and the radio operates without this IF coil. And the answer to that is really quite simple now. If you just trace from the grid of the detector, you go back through this capacitor, down through this resistor. These wires are connected. It's hard to see, but there's actually a dot there. You follow this line all the way over. I mean, you're getting right back into the antenna. So you're kind of bypassing everything and just detecting off the antenna, which is tuned, a tuned coil here, and throwing it right into the detector, bypassing all this stuff, and you're getting a somewhat of a signal coming out the other end. So this is a great, I'm much better off now. Thank God. I even got this diagram. Shows me the tube pin positions. I don't know if you can see that easily, but it actually identifies cathode, plate, and signal grid and the rest. No more guesswork on my part. So I've got renewed energy now to work a little more on this radio. Still got the problem with the IF coil and the open wire, which I'm hoping somebody will help me with. But I feel much more reassured now. I can sort through the low plate voltage on the one tube, and hopefully get this IF coil back in the set working at some point. And it'll work quite well at that point, I think. Just to remind you all, I'm not doing restorations. I'm just basically, frankly, trying to do the minimum to make the radio work within reason. That's really what my goal is here. And sometimes the minimum involves many hours. It's not such a minimum thing in the end. Especially if I'm on the learning curve, and most of the time I am on the learning curve with a radio like this. Like I mentioned before, I've never worked on one. This particular vintage, I've worked on some from the mid-30s, but never quite back this far. I never worked on a Philco before. So that's all the good news. I thought I'd share it with you. I was going to lay off this radio for a while, but I think I'm going to go after that 30 volts problem and see if I can't nail down why it's only 30 volts. There's another thing concerning me about this radio. Maybe somebody can comment on it. I can't be sure, but I think it may be set up for 25 cycle power, and of course long gone are the days of 25 cycle power, and pushing 60 into it. Now it may have been altered, including even a different transformer on there from the original one. I really haven't looked into it yet. A little curious about what happens if you run a 25 cycle transformer on 60 cycles. One of the curious things I found, and it may relate to this, and this is why I'm a little bit worried about, the typical plate voltages on this radio are 250 volts, and my readings are close to 400. That's quite a difference. If it was 300, I wouldn't worry so much, but 400, that's pushing it up quite high. And I'm wondering if that's the effect of having the 60 cycles going through a 25 cycle transformer. Another thing I noticed in the last video was the field coil on this speaker was getting a little warmer than I would like to see. So that's a little suspicious too. That's all. Just thought I'd update you and offer my opinion as to why a radio can work with major components missing. Yeah, it bridges out on the circuit highway, and yet somehow the signal's getting around the open bridge. That's all. Thanks for watching. Bye.